the process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots to the heart.
Oh,
at the back end. Oh, no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable!
League of Europe, grow or fade.
So how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for the penultimate round for the PC tier for the first season. My name is Jacob, bringing you guys the comms once again. Unfortunately, Panther couldn't be here tonight. We had quite a few drivers already, so we thought I may as well just sort of hop in for tonight. As I said, it's the penultimate round anyway, so hopefully everything is going to go very, very smoothly indeed. But I am actually not alone. I am joined by the one that also does the Division 5 comms, and I'm sure he's going to be pretty happy to see all of this go on tonight. It is Mr. Iverbrin Mike. How are you doing, Mike?
I am doing fantastic, and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah, Abu Dhabi, a very tricky circuit to get the hang of. Very easy to lose it in traction zones as well, and it's just one of those tracks where hooking up the lap can be incredibly tricky.
Yeah, it certainly can be. And before we do end up going into the qualifying session for you guys, we're just going to get the standings up for you. As you can already probably tell, Mr. Anchor, if you've been living under a rock, he did take the championship already. He took that over in, I think it was at USA, he ended up taking that. So, yeah, the Finn has managed to finally grab that title, but trust me, it is all still a play for in the constructors. But again, I'll move on to that very shortly. In second place is Mr. XL Zarma. He is 95 points behind Anchor. Obviously, with the 2 races left to go, it's almost impossible for him to catch up anyway. VSR Jake is in third with 202 points. A bit of a battle going on between those two, but Jake, with him being in the F1 Challenger Series, he is unfortunately not going to be racing tonight. I also just want to say a quick congratulations to him for that one as well. Vallejo, the other McLaren, is in P4 with 123 points. Dylan Warren is on 120 points. As a reserve, he's in P5. Again, unfortunately not being here tonight. E2 is in 6th with 93, with Bree in 7th on 86. Then myself in 8th with 81 points, as Mike liked to point out last week. Jay Stroll. Tixie in 9th on 69 points. Coop, who again for some reason isn't here tonight, he is on 63 points in 10th. V5 in 11th with 44. Graham, my teammate, in 12th with 41 points. Exit in 13th with 36 points. Sven in 14th with 34. Panther, who is now obviously just doing the comms for the remainder of the season, is on 26 points. Frey in 16th with 25. Bones in 17th with 22. O'Hardy in 18th with 18 points. Bit of a match-up for them there. Gilzo in 19th with 16. Merckx in 20th with 16 points as well. Only 2 races to his name. Inbounds Cupid in 21st with 11 points. Rick in 22nd with 10 points. And Warshaw also picking himself up a point as well. Guys still yet to pick up any sort of points are Dylan, Mr. Whippy, Andre, Daniel 79 Myers, and Daniel G, who in fact a couple of these guys are actually racing for the first time this evening. So without further ado, I suppose we better get on into the qualifying session, as we are already quite a bit of the way through. So already sort of 7 minutes into qualifying, and as you can see at the top of your timesheet, it is Vallejo at the top. It's sitting on a 133.4, and as I said, there are a couple of new guys that are in this session as well. So you've got the likes of, for some reason, Nicholas Latifi's there on my screen, no idea why. But you've got the likes of D Gazal, his name Daniel G, as I said, new driver to the league as well. He is a reserve. And Moritz, who started off at the beginning of the season, took a bit of a break, but he is now back for Abu Dhabi. He's actually taken my racing point for this race as well. So he's got a bit of expectation to live up to. So hopefully we'll see him being able to do that one this evening. But Mike, I'm a bit intrigued to see how this is going to go, because knowing the past few rounds, Mr. Anchor and Jake have usually tried to start towards the back end of the grid, just to try and get a bit of a feel for how they are going to be sort of doing, like trying out the strategies and stuff like that. I mean, in this case, do you maybe still seeing, because it's just Mr. Anchor and Jake not being here tonight, Mr. Anchor is though, do you still see him maybe taking the win for tonight?
I mean, I never count on Mr. Anchor. He's shown fantastic pace this entire season, as has Jake for that matter as well. So when they start at the back, you just don't expect them to be that far up the field that quickly. But within like a lap or two, they're already up in like P5 and that. So I wouldn't rule them out for the win.
No, definitely wouldn't either as well. And I know exactly what you mean. It's very, they are very, well, they are very sort of tricky when it goes through that entire process as well. The other Mercedes, by the way, where it says it's Nicholas Latifi, for some reason in a Mercedes, it's not. It's V5, so I've no idea why it says it's Latifi, but it's very odd.
It's a V5 to me.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, no, indeed. But let's go on board with a few guys that are potentially either on laps or be starting their laps. Just want to say, as I said, obviously, as I said, Vallejo is the one that is currently at the top on a 33.4 pole time. I'm expecting for someone to maybe get into the 32s. I've done a few practice sessions with, well, and in time trial as well. A few times you can get in the 32, so I'm expecting maybe the likes of Zardomar and maybe Teaksy to get into the 32s. But again, we'll wait and see how these guys do crack on. But let's have a look. Who is currently on a lap? In fact, the one that is on a lap is our current championship leader. And what I'm going to do is, Mike, I'm going to let you just go and take us on a lap around the nice Yas Marina circuit with us. So take it away, Mike.
Okay, so coming out of the hairpin now, Mr. Anchor again, fantastic traction there as he opens up DRS as we go to what will surely be one of the key overtaking points of the track as we break just before the 100-meter board into the chicane. Again, lovely traction there on the exit. I usually spin there, so I know how difficult the traction can be there. As we've got DRS open for the second time, 2 DRS zones. Very easy to have a nice battle with sharing the DRS as you make one overtake as we go into the heart now of sector 3. Very technical part of the circuit as we've got the double right-hander which leads into this very tight right-hander 90-degree corner as we go into the fantastic hotel section as we come towards the end of the lap into the penultimate corner just before the 15-meter board turning in, and as the curve starts on the left turning into the final corner and across the line will come Mr. Anchor and it's a 32.5.
I thought he would have been trying to start at the back of the grid, but no, he's trying to prove himself here, try and maybe get maybe a second up ahead of his competition. A 32.5 as a banker lap. To be fair, we are already nearly just over 10 minutes into the session, so that might explain it. But I mean, yeah, what a lap that was from Mr. Anchor, and we'll see if anybody is able to maybe try and, well, keep up with that one. I'm just going on board with the Irishman of Gilzo, who's just come through Sector 1. I suppose I better get up like everybody's times and stuff like that, as Gilzo's actually invalidated his lap, so there's not going to be a continuation from him in regards to that.
Dylan is on a valid lap right now in the second sector split. 1 minute 2.3 in the middle sector.
Okay, it's not too bad, I suppose. Well, we'll keep on board with Dylan as he's actually on 0 ERS at the moment. So I don't know if that's going to indicate he's coming in or what, but I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Moritz is the other one who's just behind him, also on a lap, but he might get a bit blocked from Dylan, although he has managed to just get out of it already. So we'll stick on board with the reserve driver, who's, as I said, taking my car for this evening. Moritz just coming around the penultimate corner now, keeping it in 5th gear. Invalidated, unfortunately, but let's have a look. What would that lap time have been for him? It was a 33.8, so Unfortunate for him with that invalidation, he's not going to be able to improve, but there is one that is definitely improving. It's the other Renault of Tixi, as he is just coming around the penultimate corner now, as Zarma goes up into P2, a 33.0. I didn't actually manage to catch that, but Tixi isn't going to be in contention with him as well. He puts it up into P4, a 33.4, only a couple hundredths just behind the other McLaren of Vallejo.
Yeah, it's getting close. Especially, when you take Mr. Anker and Jake out of the equation, the times at the top end are incredibly close between the likes of Redeemer, yourself as well. Velo, Tixi, E2 is usually thereabouts as well. It's so close between you guys as well, and it does lead to some fantastic battles.
Yeah, no, 100% as well, and so I'm just trying to sort out a few sound settings on my side 'cause it's just a little bit sort of quiet at the moment. But yeah, regardless, yeah, I suppose without this two, it'd be very, very close towards the top. But I don't want to tell them that because otherwise, then they're just it would just make them leave. So please stay with us, guys. But yeah, no, to be fair, it's even though with those two guys as well, it still can be very close all around. I was just sort of sitting on board with the other Alfa Romeo of Frey, who's just come across the line to do a 36.2. I did say we're going to dive into the constructors for you guys as well. So, constructors-wise, McLaren are the ones that are actually leading the constructors now from their impressive performance over at Mexico, where both Mr. Anker and well, Mr. Anker didn't race last week, but Frey did, and unfortunately DNF'd. But the McLarens, where they picked up, I believe it was first and third, they are now at the top of the standings by 3 points, and I think that's what Anker is probably why Anker has decided to go and do that lap of his own, because he wants to try and maybe come in contention, try and take the constructors, try and sort of get the double whammy as such for the first season in the League of Europe. But yeah, Mr. Anker 32.5 at the moment, and we'll see if anybody is able to beat that. And speaking of that, one of the top guys at the moment has just started the lap. It is Vallejo, as he's just made his way around turn 1. I'm just seeing if there's any other sort of constructors battles going on. A little bit further down, you have got a bit of a battle between the Renault and the Haas. 3 points separating those guys as well. But I don't know. I think it's actually really usually pretty close between Tixi and E2. Those guys. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting anything from E2 at the beginning of the season. When he did first join, as I said, I'll be honest, I didn't really sort of see that much potential in him. But now, since the season's gone on, I can definitely say he's improved massively. So, of course, coming up to next season, I am looking forward to seeing how that is going to go. And there will be sort of a little bit of announcement in the Discord for the guys that are watching, that are in the Discord as well. For the PC League for next season, so make sure you guys are keeping out for that one as soon as the race has finished. But Vallejo just still sticking on board with the Finn, making his way around sector 3 now, and I think from what I saw he was about a tenth and a half down. Is that right, Mike?
I believe so. It's been a clean lap, but it's just not been as good as his previous lap. But maybe he'll find the time in the final sector as he comes now into the penultimate corner. Can he keep it valid? Yes, he can. But he's going to duck out into the pit lane and almost hits a wall on the pit entry.
I've seen a few guys do that in the past, and trust me, it's not fun when that happens. So, very, very close to hitting that wall there, but luckily he's just managing to avoid that one. Did Vallejo, but the one that I said is we're gonna go on board with is Vallejo does retire from this session. We have only got 2.5 minutes left to go. Well, 2.25 minutes now left to go of the session. The one that I was saying I've been very impressed with so far this season is E2. We'll stick on board with him as he's just now coming up to the second DRS straight now. DRS wide open. Is he up on his time as he hits towards the end of sector 2 for the triple chicane? He's in fact nearly 4/10 down on his time, so unless his sector 3 was the really sloppy one, I don't think we're going to be seeing improvement from the Finn on this lap. But there is definitely a driver that's up ahead that I believe could be looking to improve, and that is Graham. In fact, I'm telling a lie, he's on a 40 at the moment, so he, I think, is just going to be starting his lap once again right now. So we'll go back on board with E2 as he's just made his way through the hotel section of the track, as I believe that was V5 going up into P8, so good lap from him. Gilzo just starting his lap up ahead as well, but E2 making his way around the final corner now. Is it an improvement up on his time? No, it's not. It is still 3/10 down, unfortunately, so no improvement from the Finn for tonight, and I believe that is the best he is going to try and qualify for tonight. You've got to look out for the guys that are behind him, though. The likes of Merckx, Bree, V5 could potentially even try and go for another lap, and the newbie as well of Mr. D. Gazal. We'll see how he also fares on throughout tonight's race. As I said, it is his first race in League of Europe. Granted, I know it is the second to last race of the season, but we'll see how he does fare on. As is that a driver that's crashed into the pit wall?
I hope not, but but yeah. Speaking of the new drivers, as Graham is 2 tenths up on his time in the middle sector right now as he comes into the final sector. With the new drivers coming in this late into the season, it does throw a little bit of spice into some of the battles out on track, because if they are going to be able to really get themselves involved, because like at the moment, Mortia is taking your seat. You're going to want to hope that he's Nico Hulkenberg, your super sub. But for these guys coming back or first racing, it's going to be incredibly interesting to see how they're going to be able to fare against the already established members of the grid.
Yeah, no, it certainly will be as well. And I was just riding on board with Mr. Roland Rick. He was 2 tenths up on his time, but unfortunately at the final corner, having that spin, Gilzo invalidated his lap, so he is going to be starting at the very back of the grid. E2 just coming across the line. Again, still no improvement for him, so he will be starting at the very back of the grid. And now Gazal just making his way around the final corner now. No improvement whatsoever from him, so unfortunately for him, P10 is going to be the best that he is going to start. Moritz, I think P11 again is going to be the best where he is going to start. Sven is the another one that is also on a lap that is up behind him, but Merckx just coming across the final corner, and he's actually crashed it into the pit wall. So the first victim of that pit wall for tonight is Zardama coming across the line. He's invalidated as well, so I was getting a bit too hyped for nothing.
Yep, Sven also just invalidated as well.
Maybe not too much. Maybe not too much at all. Yeah, Tixi just coming across the line and just swiping that P2 from Zardama. So good lap from Tixi indeed to put himself up into that the front row of the grid. We'll see how he does fare on.
I believe Roland Rick is the only one left on a valid flying lap.
I think he's broken his wing, so I don't think he's actually going to be able to finish his lap. Well, not going to be able to finish his lap, but he's not going to be able to do a quicker lap. So, yeah, Mr. Anchor once again. Now that his VSR compadre isn't here tonight, he is now put it on pole by 5 tenths up ahead of Tixi in second. And then you've got the two McLarens on the second row. So it really is a bit of a showdown for this first place in the Constructors, because Frey all the way down in 13th. But if he stays there off the start, he's of course not going to be getting any sort of points. So that means it really just relies on Anchor to be able to try and pick up as many points as he possibly can, basically just winning and getting the fastest lap. So he could be able to get sort of like the full, I suppose what they call it, the full crown for tonight. The pole fastest lap, that's it, the Grand Slam. So the pole fastest lap and the win for tonight. He definitely has the capability to do it, so we'll keep an eye out and see how he does. Of course, as I said, you can't really sort of sleep on the guys that are just behind him of Tixi and Zardama, as well as Vallejo. Those guys on their day, especially Tixi and Zardama, can be extremely quick. So as I said, we'll keep an eye on those guys as well. E2, as I said, one that I wasn't expecting at the beginning of the season. Again, it's another one you cannot sleep on whatsoever. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be difficult to... yeah, Merckx as well. It's going to be difficult to call. I can say that for sure, because from second to sixth, they're only split by 6 tenths, which is sort of the gap between first and second. So, yeah, again, it's difficult to call for sure. I feel like this grid is more sort of divided, rather than it being into one, because it's only just the one grid for PC. They're more sort of divided up into groups, and you can see it really. Merckx all the way, or not even Merckx, sorry, Graham all the way down to about Moritz, maybe even Sven, literally split by 6 tenths as well. So they're sort
Yeah.
of gapped between sort of like 6 tenths between each other. But as I said, Mr. Anchor putting it on pole, Tixi in second, Mazadama in third, Vallejo in fourth, E2 in fifth, Merckx in sixth, and everyone actually managed to sip it. So we didn't manage to get the rest of the results, but I believe it was Bree and V5 in seventh and eighth. So they're going to be occupying the fourth row of the. Is it fourth row of the grid? Yeah, fourth row of the grid. So interesting one that we'll need to keep our eye out on as well. Um, yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. But
One good thing about Abu Dhabi is that it does throw up some interesting strategies because normally the two stop is the favorable strategy around here, but I have
yeah.
seen a lot of people in the past do the one stop and then try and make it work. However, on this game, I'm not too sure if the hard tires are any better of a race tire than they were last year's game.
So from what I've heard, the soft tyres in this game compared to what it was in last game, they're a lot more durable. So you can run on them a little bit longer than what you could on the last game. Of course, I think it is still better to do a two-stop of a soft medium to soft or soft medium medium, depending on how easy it's going to go throughout that. But I think soft medium soft, I believe, is the best strategy to go for. I mean, it will come up at the bottom, but usually it does lie. But yeah, we'll wait and see what it says. We'll see at the bottom. But guys outside of the top 10, everyone has decided to opt and go on the mediums except for Inbounds Cupid. So he's going on a set of the softs. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go because the guys that are on the mediums, they could potentially just do the one stop of medium to soft because soft to medium is doable. Again, it's dependent on how you are on your tyres. But I don't know if it's really the soft to medium is going to be the quicker strategy to compare to the soft medium soft because you're saving a pit stop, but then you're going to be having really slow tyres at the end, or if it's really just the soft to medium. So there's so many dynamics that can play a factor into it, and then even one safety car as well that can just change the whole dynamic of this race. So yeah, it's a tough one to call. I'll admit it's a very, very tough one to call, and I don't know how it's going to go. Yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon?
It's gonna be very intriguing, and I don't know why, but it has just cropped in my head. I'm looking at the sky and I see some dark clouds up there.
I've seen it before, but that's once in a
But
blue
Abu
moon.
Dhabi.
It's
Abu
once in a
Dhabi.
blue moon. I have seen it before, and funny enough, Mark in the chat will know exactly what one I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see it raining in tonight's race. I think it is just going to be completely dry. But again, we'll wait and see. But I mean, do I dare ask what you think your prediction's going to be?
Joe, I'm gonna actually go for it. Mr. Anger for the win with the fastest lap. I think he's gonna get the Grand Slam. I'm gonna put Zwadema in second, Tixi third.
Okay, interesting indeed. And the predicted pit stop strategy actually just came up at the bottom of my screen there, and it actually predicted to do a soft medium, but of course with the softs at the end of the race probably being a bit easier, especially with lighter fuel, trying to go for the fastest lap as well, probably best to do the soft medium soft. However, soft medium is still obviously very good to go through as well. It says the 5 red lights are up on my screen, but that's definitely not true. Or is it true? No, it's not. So now the 5 red lights are coming up, and it is lights out and away we go. They got off very, very quickly, and TC getting a very good start. Same with Mr. Anchor and Zardama, all very good starts. And Graham already up into P5 trying to battle the likes of Vallejo and Merckx. Merckx just managing to hold down the inside of Graham. Sorry, Graham trying to hold it down the inside now up in towards turn 3, not being able to do that. And now E2 just getting straight back past him as well. And now there is a car that is round. That is Moritz.
Not quite the super sub then.
Not quite the super sub indeed. Very unfortunate for him as well. His first race back in the season as well. And there's a VSC that has come into it as well, as Frey's just gone past V5 and going past Bree. Why is Frey overtaking everyone?
Frey has an X on his name, and
Oh.
I think that's just why he's just left the session. So Frey having issues with connecting to the session at the moment. Hopefully he can get back in. But yeah, that's a lot of positions that he just gained by lagging out of the session.
Oh, he's back again. Well, that was That's very, very strange, but I'm assuming the VSC is going to get back. Well, VSC is just going to stop any second now, and we can get racing once again. But I feel so. I do feel so sorry for Moritz on that one, because starting on the set of the medium tyres now, it's really sort of hurt his strategy, because now he's going to have to come into the pits with no front wing and just try and, well, he's just going to try and make up the best of what he can. Apparently there's yellows in every single sector, Sector 1, Sector 2 and Sector 3, so I'm not too sure where the hell that has come from. But Frey, is he back in his car? I don't think he is.
No, not quite yet. Still ghosting for me.
Yeah, it does look like he's still ghosting for me as well. But Mr. Anchor now, of course, setting the fastest lap of the race. We are now on to lap 2 of 28, and already a 1.5 second gap separating him and Tixi. So really, he's already gone. He's pretty much already won the race, unless there's a late safety car and he has a few penalties to his name.
Oh, in the wall. I was just going through the grid. I saw Graham, Mert, and they were on either side of E2, and E2 was just gone absolutely flying into the wall.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And that is a full course safety car. So Moritz, I think, has really just been gifted the fact that he had that front wing damage on the first lap. He probably would have preferred a safety car on lap 1, but V5 has also left the session. I don't know what's going on.
I think we're getting the similar situation of what we've been seeing on the PlayStation side, where it just lags people out of the session for the sake of lagging people out of the session.
Classic. Absolutely classic. I think Bree was involved in that, now that I look at it, because from the looks of things, I think he's got a bit of front right end plate damage. I'm just trying to take a look. Yeah, he does. Front right end plate damage, and for some reason, he's just overtaken Dylan Poole.
Yeah, it was an interesting line from Bree there. Definitely taking the scenic route. And I think, yeah, Dylan Poole's also got front left end plate damage, I think.
Let's have a look. Yeah, he does. You can see it. Yeah, front left end plate indeed. Hopefully V5 can get himself back in the session. As E2's just said, safety car never ended for me. The game is so broken. So that obviously explains it, as now the front runners all coming into the pits. I say that. Tixi, Zadama, Vallejo and Merckx all stayed out. Frey, of course, being on the mediums, it was quite obvious he would stay out. Inbound Cupid has stayed out, as Dylan Poole getting a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pits. I'm intrigued. Graham, by the way, I just want to say, he's gone on a set of the hards, so he's going to try and go to the end of the race. And to be fair, this could play a massive part in the race for him, because he doesn't need to make another stop. If he's going on those hards, there's no other stop he's going to need to do. I don't know. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting how it's going to play out.
It's definitely doable as well. The hard straight to the end. Relative ease, I think the hards are very doable around this track. But I'm interested to see if Mr. Anger is going to have good enough tyre wear where he's just going to make one more stop halfway through the race for another set of the mediums, as E2 has left the session, obviously not happy with what happened with him. Apparently safety car never ended for him, and that led to his DNF. But yeah, Mr. Anger, will he be able to do essentially now just a one-stop medium to medium?
I suppose he could. They could really try and do medium to medium, because that obviously I think that's what the guys are going to be doing, the ones that pit to a set of mediums. I am really surprised that the front guys didn't end up pitting though, like the likes of Tixi, Zalama, Vallejo. Maybe then that could and Merckx as well. That could indicate, excuse me, that they may be trying a one-stop.
So that's just adding another layer to this race now. It's an extra little bit of spice being added on top now. I like it.
It's a very interesting thing to think about as well. So I'm going to just try and get V5 back into the session really quickly. So hopefully he can get in. Apparently the lobby is glitched. Because everyone on my side is still fine, but I don't know. I know Frey was insane. People ghosting all over the place and teleporting. I know you're in a chat with Dan and Bree, V5. Is that the same case for those guys as well? Are they having the same issue?
It's not good if everyone is ghosting and lagging around all over the place, but
Yeah, hopefully it's... I can see Frey sort of teleporting a little bit, but other than that, everyone on my side is fine. But obviously Frey teleporting, I think, was just from when he did join back.
I think because Frey and V5 have lagged out, I think they're the ones who like we'll see teleporting.
Yeah. Oh, Dylan Paul has spun under the safety car. And he's now got more wing damage. Okay.
I think that's bad for Dylan because I'm pretty sure the safety car will be in this lap because everyone would have called up to the safety car queue.
It certainly would have, and for some reason TC is backed well off from that safety car already. Which is very, very, very strange. Very, very strange. Oh yeah, there we go. Safety car in this lap, so let's have a look. So TC going to be taking us for a restart on this one. Mr. Anchor, he's got a bit of a job to do of trying to get past the likes of Imaz, Cupid, Frey, Merc, Vallejo, Dan, and Tixi. Of course, as I said, Mike, these guys I think are all literally. I think this is net positions now, because the guys that are up front that haven't pit are more than likely going to be doing that one stop, as Maritz gets a 5-second penalty for a collision with Dylan Paul. Which is very odd, but I think the restart has gone underway. No, it still hasn't. I'm just watching on board from Zardama's point of view as Teeksey's still weaving. I think he's going to wait until the final corner. In fact, he goes right now. So, Teeksey, good start. Zardama did manage to think, well, had also thought about that restart as now Mr. Anchor very close to the back of Ingham's Cupid. Is he going to try and send one up the inside? No, he is not. So he's going to stay behind the Hash driver for now as he goes very wide at turn one. Mr. Anchor now down the inside of Ingham's Cupid. Ingham's Cupid does just leave off that space. And now Mr. Anchor, next one that he needs to overtake is his teammate. So is Frey going to just leave it? Yeah. I don't think he will be, as Dan Gazal just gets past V5's Ghost. As V5's Ghost has spun. In fact, no, V5 is back in the lobby, sorry. So he's actually spun.
I think what's happened there, he's taking control of his car in the corner and he's lost it immediately.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I know V5 is not going to be happy about that, as Bree now very close to the back of Maurice. Maurice, I think, just putting it into overtake mode and just making sure that he does stay up ahead of Bree, as there are more yellows, and that is Dylan Paul. He's binned it at turn one, which I'm surprised he's still all the way back there. In fact, that's in the pit wall.
Yeah, it's on the pit exit.
He's brought out another safety car. What?
No, it's gonna be one of those ones. It's gonna be one of those ones in there where it's just one instant safety car.
It really is. It really is. As for some reason the two McLarens have just swapped positions.
Yeah, it's a strange one there. I'm not sure what the tactic is there. Maybe Wello or Zudema, maybe.
Oh, Merck's lagged out of the session. Oh no. Oh, Merck's is just coming to the pits for him as well. Oh wait, what? Oh, Vallejo has come into the pits. Tixey's decided to come into the pits. Zardama is the only one that hasn't come into the pits, and he is saying he thinks that the lobby is glitched.
I kind of agree with that somewhat.
I think it is glitched. It's looking like the lobby is glitched.
Lap 6, do we?
Because we could restart it. We really could restart it.
The question is, how bad is it for everyone?
That's the thing. That's the thing. At the moment, I mean, on my side, everyone's fine, but Dan is still in AI mode. I don't know if that's whether it's because he's trying to let me know that the lobby's glitched or what. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Because if we restarted, then it also means that Dylan Paul and E2 are back in the session. I don't know.
The thing is, you kind of feel bad for E2 because he DNF because of the glitch.
Yeah. So Adamus just said Bree and V5 don't see the same people. And then he's just saying the game is a glitch in itself. Yeah, you are right. I think...
Yeah.
I think we might have to restart.
Yeah, I think so as well.
On their screen, V5 was behind Bree, but on Bree's screen, V5 was in front of him. So there was a bit of a lag, there was a bit of a glitch issue there. So that might have been why it showed that V5 had spun, because Bree may not have been on his screen. Luigi also saying I'd restart. I think we are going to have to take a restart, you know.
Yeah, I'm mad and everyone in Discord now saying.
Yeah, I think we are going to have to restart it. Oh, such a pain as well. 6 laps in and and it's
The good thing is everyone's under safety car, so they should be able to see this relatively quickly.
yeah. Yeah, I think we are going to have to restart it. That's an absolute pain.
Yeah, we was on for a pretty decent race as well, I think, as well, with all the strategies and everything that was being thrown up in the air. I think as Redeemer has already jumped out the...
Yeah, I think he has jumped out of the session already. Yeah, lobby is glitched. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. We are going to be taking a bit of a restart. What I am going to do is just put it on the intro again, like a short little interval for everyone, as it looks like my game is just completely frozen, or there's a car that's just completely stopped on my screen. Yeah, hopefully we'll be back literally within that 2.5 minutes. So we'll be back shortly, guys.
growth, the process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots to the heart.
Oh, in the back end. Oh, no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable.
League of Europe, grow or fade.
Right, apologies for that, everyone. We're literally just in the process of getting everyone back in the lobby now as we speak. Majority of guys are already back in the lobby. We're just waiting for one more driver to join. Zadamar is just going to be the one that's taking the host for it for now. And hopefully we can try and get this going ASAP. It is just going to be the race. We're having a custom grid on. There isn't going to be any qualifying. It's just purely the 50% race, which hopefully should finish, I'd probably say, at around 9:30 UK time, maybe 10:30 for Central European time. So hopefully we can get this underway ASAP. But yeah, Sadama will obviously let us know once he's gotten everybody in the correct spots for the grid, and then as soon as he has, we can get this one underway. But from what you saw from those first few laps, Mike, when there wasn't a safety car, what did you think, like, of a few other people's pace and stuff like that as they were going on?
Well, definitely, in terms of like the constructors battle for McLaren, Tixi is definitely going to be a major thorn in their side.
Yeah, 100%.
And of course, E2 as well. He didn't have the best of starts. He did get jumped off the line by Mercked, and I also believe he got jumped by Graham initially, but then got back through. But E2 this gives him an opportunity to have a better start, and obviously him crashing out due to that VSC glitch where it didn't go out for him. I mean, that's all on the game. That's unfortunate for E2, but he does get a second opportunity now to right the wrong of that. The race that never happened, the race that never was, we shall call it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I'll tell you what though, I've got to give a big props to Phrase Ghost for making up a load of positions on the safety car. No, but in all seriousness, I just did not say a word then. In all seriousness, I no, to be fair, I would say the likes of Bree and Gilzo, to be fair, pitting under the first safety car, putting on a set of the mediums just to try and take, like, I think it's the media. Well, Gilzo would have had to take another set of mediums to then go on a set of softs to the end. Bree could have just done medium, which could have been a little bit quicker depending on tyre wear and stuff like that. But I feel like that those guys probably could have made up for it. And again, another one, Graham, when he went on a set of the hards, it's just unfortunate. So.
Of course, we had Zwadima as well sticking it out on the softs after everyone had already pitted.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It is a shame that we were robbed of what would have been a very interesting race, but obviously if the issues are that bad for people out there driving, then obviously the restart is the best course of option.
No, without a doubt. Bear with me 1 second.
As we got Gilzo in the chat saying we should just give him the win.
Right, it looks like Dan's managed to get the grid already done, so good. It's good stuff from him. And we are going to be getting straight underway once again. It is from the quality results. Exy is also in tonight as well, so he did manage to end up racing in the end. So at least we can hopefully see some points for the AlphaTauri constructors. I'm just sending a backup invite to everyone just so we, just in case something like this happens again, which fingers crossed and absolutely everything crossed, it doesn't. But I suppose you just never know. Obviously, especially with a game like this, you just never know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a shame that we're getting issues like this at well, what was it, 6 months into the game cycle?
yeah, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But I suppose it is what it is. Hopefully, and also for the guys for PS4 tomorrow again. Hopefully, we don't have these same issues going forward. Especially with championship battles that are on the line. Luckily for this, it's just sort of, we know that Mr. Anchor's won it. The only thing that's really sort of a battle for a title at the moment is just the constructors. Also, just want to say it is definitely important that these guys do start on the same tyre that they qualified on inside the top 10, which is basically everyone on softs. If they do not start on softs, then they will be disqualified from the race. So just taking that into consideration. We had one of that already earlier on in the season, which was on the PS4 side. Ironically, that was my teammate back in Vietnam, who is now in Division 2 and also battling for the championship in that. But yeah. As I said, if anybody inside the top 10 starts on the wrong set of tyres, and also, don't forget your setups, because I guarantee one or two people may forget.
Yeah, it's crucial you don't forget your setups.
So,
I've done that before.
Yeah, it's definitely important, but anyone outside the top 10 can of course start on whatever tyre that they want, but anyone inside the top 10, I need to make sure that they are all starting on softs, and it's looking like it was all red walls, so hopefully everything will be all okay. Yeah, everyone inside top 10 on a set of softs. And everyone's, in fact, they've literally gone for the exact same thing as what they started on.
That's good to see. That's good to see, though. They're keeping it true to the first strategy that they had.
Yeah, of course. And XE is going to be starting at the back of the grid as well. Rick has unfortunately not been able to sort of make the remainder of tonight just due to other commitments for tomorrow. So, unfortunate for him. It won't go down as anything sort of like against him, only because he did try to race tonight, but due to lobby glitches, there's not much more you can particularly do, as Tixi has spun on the formation lap.
Well, we did have a spinner on the formation lap in the first one, so it's good similarities going on right now.
Let's just hope those similarities don't keep up.
Yeah, let's hope for that.
As I did say that I feel like someone may end up forgetting their setup. Freya's just put in the chat. I think he's forgotten his setup.
Oh no. Oscar, I'm not sure how decent the default setup is here, but some tracks is not too bad, but I'm not too sure about Abu Dhabi.
I think around here is pretty bad, to be honest.
That's unfortunate for Free then. I mean, his Ghost did make up more position. Actually, that could be overtake of the season worthy.
Ghost overtaking on the under the safety car.
Yeah. Made up 8 positions. He was absolutely fine. He nailed it.
Yeah. Indeed. But
there we go. Once again, the pit stop strategies has just popped up for me. Around lap 10 for the medium tyres, and I think lap 7, lap 6 for the softs. I think pops up.
yeah, that's what it says for me as well. I don't know how obviously true that is, depending on again how people like will save their tyres and stuff like that. Because I know the mediums can last maybe 14 to 15 laps if they're lucky. So that's why I do expect maybe a couple people to try and do like a soft to medium strategy. It is definitely, especially on fresh tyres now, it's doable, but I don't know. I guess we shall await and see. But I think these are the actual 5 red lights that are coming on. They are indeed, and it is lights out and away we go. And it looks like Mr. Anchor again getting the better of the starts. The same with TC, very good start from the both of those. Zarma keeping it up into P3 as well, as both Merckx and E2 now side by side going through turn 2. A little bit contact between the pair of them, but I think Merckx has managed to get past E2. Graham still remaining in a P7, as there is a bit of a leaderboard glitch on my side, but again, it's not anything too major that usually happens. As Graham and Bree now both side by side, a little bit of contact between the pair of them, and now Graham trying to hold it around the outside side of Bree in towards turn 5. Is he going to be able to keep that dirt? I think he is, just getting the traction off of that. And Moritz as well, just behind of Daniel as well. Both side by side, leading up in towards the first DRS straight and going in towards the chicane. I think Dan's going to have the inside for the first part, but is going to have remain on the outside for the second part. Let's have a look. Both still side by side. A little bit of wheel locking up for the Ferrari, but I think it does manage to keep the position. And Moritz, to be fair, already in the P10 on those set of mediums, doing a pretty good job. As now Bree and E2, I think, are both side by side now, going up into, well, they're not side by side, it's just a bit of a timing glitch once again. So thank you very much, Codemasters, for making me look like an absolute tit.
Sven and Free side by side going into the chicane at the end of the second DRS straight, as Free picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, the first one of the evening on the first lap as well, so not been a good start there for Free.
I think that just goes to show that default setup for Frey as well. It's just not working for him at all. Already a penalty on the first lap. As, oh, Dan also picks up a time penalty, and there are more yellows. I think that is Dylan Paul. Has he gotten himself any sort of wing damage? And inbound to Cupid is falling back a little bit. Graham with a 3-second time penalty already. We're already seeing more penalties just in the first lap than what we did already from last session. As, yeah, Dylan Paul has that end plate damage on the front left. Inbound to Cupid still running it perfectly fine.
Yeah, but for some reason, Mr. Anger, again, the worst of the timing glitches there, dropping all the way down to 10th, but it's sorting itself out now. And back up into the lead, and just waiting for these time deltas to sort out so we can actually see who's close to each other on track.
Yeah, without a doubt, it just seems like Codemasters are just wanting to be just one big glitch for today. For some strange reason, no idea why. But yeah, as I said, what I was saying earlier on in the stream about them all sort of splitting into groups. I mean, Mr. Anchor's already in a group of his own with just him being here tonight. If Jake was here, then those guys would definitely be battling with each other. And then you've also got the group behind him: Tixi, Zardama, Vallejo, Mert, and E2, all sort of still pretty close together. Bree just sort of floating on his own in the middle there, trying to keep up with those guys. And then just behind you've got Daniel, Graham, Moritz, V5, Sven, Gilzo, all pretty close together as well. As Exy's just gotten past Frey at the S section as well. But yeah, I mean,
battling. There's V5 around the outside of the double right-hander on Graham, and he gets the move done.
Around the outside. Very, very good move indeed. Trying to just see if there is a way that I can sort of move Discord up a little bit more in sound, because apparently
went straight into the back of V5 and has wing damage, and he's peeling off into the pits now, so it's not been a good restart to the lobby now for Graham.
He might try and do what he did on the last one though. He may go on the set of the hards, pit for obviously changing his wing, go on a set of the hards to the end of the race, which I think was his initial strategy from before. As saying that, he's gone on a medium, so Graham, I think, is more than likely going to be trying and to stop throughout this race. As, yeah, and Mr. Anchor already 2.5 seconds up ahead of Tixi. Zanama in third, just closing up to the back of Tixi. They do have DRS on this lap, by the way, as it is now lap 3, of course, of the race. And Zanama very, very close to the back of Tixi. Again, I think it's very imperative that he gets past him ASAP, because at the moment, the McLarens will be earning 27 points. Alfa Romeo's earning 25, maybe 26 actually, because Mr. Anchor does have the fastest lap of the race so far as well. So I definitely think it's important that the McLarens get past Tixi a little right now, just so then it gives them an even better chance for next week at Brazil, just to make sure that they solidify their constructors' hopes. But again, it's looking very strong from both of the McLarens. So we'll see how they end up towards the end of the race as well. And just a little bit further on behind, Bree starting to drop back quite a bit from those guys now, as Daniel's starting to close back up to the back of Bree as well. So I think he's now starting to find his groove a bit more in this race, as Frey yet another 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, it's forgetting the setup has really hurt Free here at the moment. And the thing is, as you were saying, it's important for us with Aima to get past Tixi for second to maximise the points. But we can't forget the Lumen thread for Velo, as you got Mercked and E2 right there, right behind him.
Yeah, no, of course you can't forget about these two guys as well, because obviously racing with Danito as well. They are pretty quick guys. They are sort of at a similar pace to myself and Zadama as well. So, I mean, again, anything can happen sort of with any of these guys from second down to sixth. And then, of course, if all of that battling does go on, it can really play into the hands of the likes of Breen, Daniel, Moritz, V5, all of those guys but behind. Just depending on, of course, how they're going to go. As there we go, this is the battle for second place now. Zadama going down the inside of Tixi in towards the S section. Already done before the S section. And Zadama, well, purple sector 2 for him.
Yeah, he must be listening to the stream. He heard us saying that he's got to get the move done, and he's gone and done it.
Indeed he has. So now 2.5 seconds separates him and Mr. Anchor as Daniel picks up, I think that's his second 3-second time penalty already in lap 4. Let's have a look. It is indeed Frey with also 6 seconds and Graham also with 6 seconds of penalties. So not a good start for those guys, especially with them well, at the beginning of this race already having 2 sets of penalties. But another battle that's going to be a bit interesting for me to watch, and Bray, another 3-second time penalty for him. As Moritz also picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. Is actually Moritz that I'm on board with now, very close to the back of Daniel. Leading up in towards turn 1. Daniel goes a little bit defensive in towards turn 1. These two drivers, again, I haven't really seen much from them. So let's have a look. Daniel now trying to cover off in towards turn 2. Moritz does, I think, better of it and just backs off. But you can really see that Daniel's softs are already struggling very much. And in fact, very close to running out of ERS as well, as Frey has retired from the session in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think for Frey, I believe he may have just picked up wing damage and realised that default setup, as we got Velo going around the outside of Tixi for 3rd place. Can he get this move done? No. Or is that going to open things up for Merck to try and attack the McLaren? He's not quite close enough. But yeah, with Frey, I think he may have picked up a bit of wing damage and thought, okay, default setup, no chance of coming back.
Yeah, no, it's completely understandable that that's happened. And then obviously we've also got this battle going on here for P8 as Moritz did get past Daniel in towards the long straight, but now both side by side a bit more now. Massive bit of wheel banging from them, but good racing from the pair of them nonetheless as Daniel gets past Moritz. And now V5 very close to the back of these guys as well. And same with Gilzo, all of these guys very close. Again, like I'm saying, it's split into 2 groups. You've got these guys here battling here for P8. And then you've got the guys up there battling for P2, and then Bree just sort of just sitting on his own at the moment, just literally in the middle of both of these groups. And well, hopefully for Bree, he does catch up to that group up the front, as at the moment it looks like he is dropping those guys that are behind him. But Daniel and Moritz, very good at battling from the pair of them. Again, a little bit of wheel banging, it's expected, especially in this game. So we'll keep an eye out on these guys as they are still very close together, as well as V5. To be fair, with the way that Daniel's tyres are looking at the moment, I won't be surprised if we start seeing a few of the other soft runners just their tyres starting to die out massively, to the point where it's just going to be sort of almost penalties gloss for them. As Moritz now down the inside in towards turn 4, gets that move done very nicely. Now V5 trying to go around the outside of it, just I think a little bit of a forced move he did try, but unfortunately not going to get the move done. And now Daniel very close to going into the back of Moritz, but I think Daniel is going to have that DRS on him, as well as Gilzo now going around the outside of V5, getting a much better traction out of the hairpin. And V5 from, I think, accidentally going for that move has now allowed him to now back off from that, and Gills are trying to go around the outside of Daniel now in towards the end of the fucking of the second chicane, and has actually gotten that move done.
This is fantastic stuff. As oh no, Graham's left the session.
I really hope this is not the start of it again.
I hope that as well.
But Gilzo pulling off a double overtake down the DRS straight when Daniel also had that DRS, and picks up yet another 3-second time penalty. I really think that these soft tyres are starting to go off, but I mean, I can't. You got to give credit where credit's due. That was a very good move from Gilzo.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Clean around the outside at the hairpin on V5. Got the traction down. Got the overspeed on.
Oh, this is so close between these two through the hotel section. Very good racing between the pair of them, but Daniel somehow has managed to get back in front. I don't know how he's done that, but V5 does go into the pit, so he's going to try a bit of an undercut on all of those guys that are around him. I don't know how Daniel's managed to pull that off.
That was fantastic racing from Gilzo and Daniel there. And what that's done is given Moritz a pretty healthy lead now. He's like Brie in a bit of a no man's land
Ooh.
now.
He certainly is, but Daniel just making a bit of a mistake there going out of the chicane. Now Gills are trying to go around the outside, do exactly what he did to V5 on the last lap, getting the traction out of that as well, and you can see how much traction he got. But Daniel did get the DRS, activating overtake. I think he's already going to get past Gilzo as it comes to this. I think Gilzo was chucking it in overtake, but nothing that the Irishman can do, has to just remain behind him. And then Sven as well, yeah, very, very close to the back of Gilzo, but does manage to hold on as Daniel once again. Massive mistake through that DRS, and he's going to get the DRS again because of it.
That's mad. And he's actually going to go around the outside. You got Sven, who was sticking to the outside, maybe on the luck, but he's ducked back to the inside. It's side by side again through the chicane. This is fantastic stuff between the Ferrari, and this has opened things up for Sven down the inside of Gilzo, unable to get it done, no, but fantastic battling between the Ferrari and the Renault. Meanwhile, up ahead, Mr. Anker coming into the pits. Redeemer, Dixie, and Velo have managed to drop Merck and E2 a bit.
Yeah, they certainly have. I don't know what's obviously happened with those guys a bit up ahead as well, but Merck and E2, of course, these guys also, I think they had quite a good battle over at Mexico as well, so I'm expecting these guys to have quite a nice clean battle as well. Throughout all of this, is Dylan Paul just up ahead of them, being about to be lapped, has unfortunately spun out in front of them, so with there being yellow flags there, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to make an overtake for it, but Merck now, he's not going to have any DRS. E2 will have the DRS as Dylan Paul getting a 10-second time penalty for just sort of moving out of the way of everyone, which is a bit annoying. But DRS now wide open for E2. Is he going to try and go for a move on Merck in towards the chicane? He's going to maybe thinking about going down the inside. He's going to go down the inside. Both still side by side. Merck. He's going to have the inside for the second part of the chicane. A little bit of a wheel bang between the pair of them. Who's going to get that DRS? I think E2 is the one that's going to have that DRS. Merck, though, gets much better traction out of that chicane. And now Mert, I don't know if E2 is going to be able to come back at him for this at all. It doesn't look as if he will. So we move on over to the battle for the lead of the race at the moment. And Tixi stuck in a bit of a McLaren sandwich here as Vallejo very close to the back of Tixi. And are we going to maybe see the Finn overtake another fellow Finn very, very soon and try and help out his teammate? And this could be very good points for the constructors if they do manage to pull it off.
Yeah, and speaking of constructors, incredibly crucial, Mr. Anger comes out of the pits ahead of that battle between Daniel and Gilzo. And those two were just battling a little bit, so Mr. Anger able to extend that gap very quickly. And that was crucial that Mr. Anger managed to get out ahead of that battle, because he, I think, would have had maybe a lap or two just having to stick behind while those two were battling it out.
Oh! There are yellows. Who was that? Was that Dylan going into the pits? I feel like it might have been Dylan going into the pits, yeah. Very strange. But Bree into the pits, coming out. I don't know where he's going to be in relation to his teammate, because his teammate did pit on the last lap. Bree's just coming through the tunnel section of the pit lane now as Dylan Paul has retired from the session in the pit lane. But it looks like Bree is going to come out a few seconds just up ahead of his teammate as Gilzo and Daniel still both side by side again. Gilzo, he loves to go for that move around the outside of the hairpin. And now Sven is going to try and follow suit in this. Sven, a little bit weird running between the pair of them. Sven could really benefit throughout all of this as Daniel has gotten the overtake done on Gilzo. Gilzo could be about to lose out 2 positions here. And now Sven could be looking here to gain 2 positions. He's now trying to go around the outside of Daniel in towards the chicane. I think he's going to get the move done because he keeps the inside line for that one. And well, Sven, he done exactly what Gilzo did 2 laps ago, and it's very good and very close racing between these guys now. And now Daniel's going to try and do exactly what he's done over these past few laps, trying to go down the inside of the chicane. Very close, and I think they're 3 wide going in towards the chicane as well.
Sven taking the scenic route off track. I think he was caught by surprise, one on the outside, one on the inside.
To be fair, I would have been as well. I would not have been expecting all of that to go on, but managed to keep it very clean indeed. As Tixi and Vallejo into the pits, Dan is the only one that did not end up coming into the pits. So these guys trying to go for a bit of an undercut on Zarma, and now E2 and Zarma, the only 2 that did end up staying out as Mr. Anker sets the fastest lap of the race. He is catching up quite quickly to the back of Moritz. In fact, he's already on the back of Moritz. So let's see how it's going to go down between these guys now as Moritz on 9-lap old medium tyres, Mr. Anker on, of course, fresh mediums.
Yep, and the hards going on the Renault and McLaren there. So Tixi and Velo opting for the set of the hard compound tyres.
Very interesting to say the least, as now DRS wide open for the fin of Mr. Anker, our current champion for PC, getting the move done quite easily, I believe, on the German of Moritz, and that's him in the P3 now. 5 second splits him and E2, as all Moritz braking very, very late. I thought he was going straight into the back of Mr. Anker. It was very, very lucky that he didn't end up going into the back of him in the end. But Tixi coming out actually as well, like you saying with Mr. Anker, he's actually come out ahead of that battle with his teammate, as Gilzo's very close to the back of Tixi. I don't expect Gilzo to try and go for a move on his teammate, especially considering that they just pit, but I'm expecting Gilzo to try and hold up Vallejo as much as he possibly can.
Looking around the outside of Daniel for P8 as well. And this is what I was mentioning earlier, just how crucial it was that Mr. Anker was able to get ahead of that battle, because look at the
Daniel's round. Yeah, Daniel, I think, was trying to hold it around down the inside of Merckx, and unfortunately for him, has gone round. So Daniel, it was a very, very good effort. I think it was just a bit too much of a push, and unfortunately he has now gone round. He's got Bree all over the back of him as well. Who Bree, in fact, I think was in a battle with these guys at one point as well, and now trying to hold it around the outside of Ferrari versus a Mercedes. You always love to see when the battles like this go on, as Daniel does go into the pits. Sven and Gilzo also opt to pit, as there are more yellows. I believe that is Moritz that's gone round.
Yeah, he's lost it on the exit of turn 2 there. I think he may have just gone that inside curve and gone for a spin. I'm not sure if his wing damage, he seems to be okay on the front wing. Visually, for me anyway.
Yeah, it does look like the car is perfectly fine. It shows it on my side as well now, so it should be perfectly fine. But Moritz, I think luckily for him, he's going to get a DRS off of Tixi. However, I don't think he's going to stand a chance for Vallejo on, of course, fresher tyres. More ERS as well to play with. Going around the outside of the German in towards the chicane. A little bit of wheel banging between the pair of them. But, of course, on fresher tyres, on... well, of course, harder tyres as well. I think Vallejo has gotten that move done, but both still having a DRS. And now Merckx also trying to get involved. They're getting 3 wide, almost going into towards chicane. I think Moritz just backs out of that, but now Merckx and Vallejo very close to the back, close to each other, as Merckx trying to hold it down the inside. Has to cut the chicane just to make sure he doesn't spin up, but Vallejo going very deep in towards it as well. And now Merckx going down the inside of Vallejo, and they're both still side by side to seeing how they're going to go through this. Trying to hold it around the outside, but Vallejo, I think he's going to hold that position, shut the door on him, but goes deep once again, closing the door on Merckx. And now the McLaren, he's got a bit of work to do to try and catch back up to the back of Tixi.
Yeah, not only that, Merckx on a different, well, I believe he's on a different strategy right now, because he's on the mediums. He's going to be much quicker at the moment. It does play into the advantage to try and keep Merckx behind us. We've got Redeemer and E2 now into the pits. Redeemer just coming out of the pits now, and I believe he's going to rejoin behind Mortiz.
I don't know, you know. He's literally just come out just up ahead of Merckx.
Oh, man.
So, Zanema, despite doing the overcut, has only come out just behind his teammate. Of course, he's come out behind both his teammate and Tixi, but it is expected that he'd come out behind them. But I would have thought he may have even came out behind Merckx and Moritz. But, well, very good job from him indeed. And, of course, Vallejo just sort of letting his teammate go, making sure that no one else is going to try and get past his Merckx. Is he going to try an audacious sludge down the inside? Yes, he does. In towards the chicane. A little bit of wheel banging between the pair of them, but still safe racing between the pair of them nonetheless. A very good racing between them. A little bit of contact as well. Merckx forced off of the track on the outside, but got the move done around the outside. He picked up himself a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, but he's gotten the move done. And now Vallejo trying to go back around the outside. Very good racing between the pair of these guys already. A little bit of wheel banging between the pair of them, as Merckx having to cut the end part of the chicane. And now Merckx once again down the inside. A bit of deja vu from what happened on the last lap, except Moritz is now the one that is very close behind us. Merckx trying to go around the outside once again, and I think he's a bit more alongside this time, and has to just yield the position. So Vallejo doing an impressive job of defending from Merckx as well. Very, very intense between these guys. And Zadoma already caught up to the back of Tixi.
Yeah, the fresh mediums versus the hards really coming into play there for Zwadema. And you can see Vallejo and Merckx and how much defending that Vallejo has to do to keep Merckx behind. That's going to play into E2's hands when he eventually goes up to the back of him, as we got Mortiz into the pits and he's on the set of the soft tyre, so definitely going for the two-stop strategy right there. Vadema potentially could go to the end on those mediums.
He certainly could, but there's a little battle going on just down the field as well. V5 and XE. V5 going around the outside of XE into turn 4 to have the inside for the chicane. It was a good move for the Brit in the Merc. And bit of oversteer, but he's managed to correct that somehow. But XE, I think, is going to get back past him in the end. So what was a valiant move from V5 just did not work out for him. Unfortunately, getting on the power a bit too early, just completely losing control of the car and now having to yield that position to XE as Vallejo. He couldn't defend Mert for that much longer as Mert is now into P4 and has got clear air to try and catch up to the back of Tixi. As also Zalama getting past Tixi. I didn't manage to catch that in the end.
Both DRS overtakes.
It certainly was as V5 going around the outside of XE once again. V5. He's done so many around the outside overtakes so far, and I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be surprised if he tries and does some more throughout the rest of the night, as now we are halfway into the race. We should have been sort of halfway through maybe about half an hour ago, as there are yellows. I believe that is Daniel that has spun. He has indeed at the end of the chicane, of the double chicane, shall I say.
That's unfortunate for Daniel, and to be honest, I think the restart is actually given us more action, I think.
Yeah, no, it certainly has as well, and just sort of looking up and down the field is sort of started to space out a little bit more, but yeah, very unfortunate for Daniel, of course, a newcomer in this as well. Just looking in a few of the comments as well, Mark's just put in saying Mr. Anchor should easily do it, but he needs to stretch his legs to get out ahead of third. So I think he's just talking about a 2-stop there, as Daniel once again another 3-second time penalty as Gilzo now closing up to the back of XE. So we're going to go on board with that battle here as Gilzo DRS now wide open, and what doesn't even really need his overtake. XE with barely any ERS to his name has to yield that position. XE, by the way, 13 lap old mediums. He's still, I think, one of the only ones that are yet to pit. In fact, he is the only one that is yet to pit. So we'll be seeing the Finn as well try and make a pit stop very soon, as I'm sure his mediums are absolutely dying.
I mean, we mentioned Zudema possibly going for the soft to medium. Could it be possible that XE's thinking about a medium to soft?
It is entirely possible. So we'll keep an eye out and see how he does. He's already lost 1.5 seconds to Gilza though, and that was just in one sector alone. So not particularly the way that I think XE would have wanted this to go, but he's also got a Moritz that's just behind him, like closing into the back of him. Yeah, fresh softs as well. I think he's already going to go for the move down in the penultimate corner. Yep, straight down the inside. XE not fighting that and picks himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. To be fair, with the amount of penalties that are being picked up already, as Moritz sets the fastest lap of the race, the amount of penalties that are being picked up already, we could potentially be seeing a few guys towards the back end move themselves up. I mean, well, I'll say back end. The only one that's sort of remotely close that could potentially do it is Sven.
Sven's already in the points.
Yeah, obviously I know he's already in the points, but as in like with the amount of penalties that are already to people's names, we could potentially be seeing him move up a few more spots to get himself more points.
A big old dive on Velo at the end of the DRS straight, and that was a monstrous dive. He did force Velo off there. Kind of, I kind of feel that you really need to get that position back, because that was that's a questionable dive, really just forcing the McLaren out of the way there. But he tuned out up into 5th, and sorry to cut in on you there, Jacob.
No, it's fine. Obviously, I didn't manage to catch that, unfortunately, in the stream. I think I was just sort of sitting on board with the battle that was going on between V5 and Gilzo, as Gilzo's still very close to the back of the Mercedes now. Going through the double right-hander as Vallejo picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. So that's going to give the Finn a bit of a disadvantage later on into the race, as I don't know how these guys on the hards are going to be able to do come towards the end of the races. I mean, Vallejo now already 1.5 seconds behind E2. I don't know. I don't think the soft hard was the easiest, to be fair. Yeah, already as well. So I don't know. It's a bit of a tricky one to go through, but inbounds Cupid, Daniel, side by side through the S's, making it work. Inbounds Cupid, managing to hold that position on Daniel. So what a drive from inbounds Cupid so far. And now Daniel, I think, getting better traction out of it. Both still going side by side through the double right-hander. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, but still both side by side. It's just, I know this isn't particularly for any points, but it's very close between the pair of them as inbounds Cupid just has to yield that position, has a bit of a spin, a little bit of contact between the pair of them, and now he's up into P13 is Daniel, but it was a valiant effort from inbounds Cupid as now Gilzo and V5 very close together as V5 no ERS to his name whatsoever, and Gilzo just getting that move done quite easily on the Irishman, the Irishman getting a move done quite easily on V5, and now you can already see just how much of how much ERS makes a difference. Already 8 up ahead, and now Moritz now trying to go down the inside of V5 in towards the S's as well. Both quite low on their ERS, but Moritz on, of course, fresh as soft tyres. V5 just has to lock up. Oh, he locked up. Unfortunately, giving that position away down into P10 is the Brit in the Merc. And as, to be honest, I won't be surprised if we see V5 maybe make a second pit stop very soon.
Yeah, I think V5 now is he's just starting to lose a bit of pace on those mediums, so I would expect him to be in within the next 2 laps, I'd say.
Yeah, certainly do as well, and still got that battle going on down there for P13 between Daniel and inbounds Cupid. As inbounds Cupid, in fact, I don't know what just happened there. I don't know if Daniel had like much better, didn't have as good traction or what, but inbounds Cupid is now up into 13th position, and I just saw Daniel weaving a little bit as well, so I'm not too sure what had gone on between those guys there. But Tixi is going to have a bit of pressure here from Merckx, as Merckx also has a 3-second time penalty as well to his name. DRS now wide open for the Brit in the Williams. Tixi's going to have to try and do something to try and defend this off. I don't know if Merckx going to try and go for a move now in towards the chicane. He isn't. He's just going to have to stay behind as Mr. Anchor picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. Being about 15 seconds up ahead, I don't think it's really going to matter unless, of course, he does make a second pit stop as Moritz and Gilzo now just trading places. Gilzo having to yield to Moritz as well, but Merckx, in fact, Tixi has been absolutely saved by the ghost of Graham, as Tixi got the DRS off the ghosting racing point.
Yeah, perfect timing there for Tixi to keep hold of that position, and he holds off for another lap, but the question is for how much longer. You can just tell Merck and E2 right now on those mediums are absolutely flying in comparison. This is what we alluded to at the start of the stream all so long ago, just how slow of a race tyre the hards have been in recent years, and whether it's the same on this installment of F1 compared to previous, and it looks to be the case as Mr. Anchor is in the pits now, and it looks like he's going to maybe come out just ahead or just behind this battle.
I don't know. He's going to be in this battle from the looks of things. Tixi, him and Mr. Anchor both side by side, and I think it's actually going to be side by side with Merck. No, Tixi and Mr. Anchor were both side by side, but Mr. Anchor just making sure he does maintain that P2, and now up ahead of Tixi. Tixi's going to have that DRS on our current champion though, as Mr. Anchor goes a little bit wide, trying to get as much of a better run as possible to make sure that Tixi does not get past him, especially with that DRS, as Mr. Anchor very low on ERS as well. So here we go, Tixi, DRS now wide open for the Finn. It's a Finn v Finn situation once again. He's closing up to the back of him. Is he going to try and maybe go for a dive? No, he does not. He just stays behind the VSR man for now, and 5 seconds separates both him and Dan. So Mr. Anchor, I think you were right, Mike. I think he is well on for a win and potentially fastest lap as well.
Yeah, of course, we have to wait and see. You never know with the gap between 12th and 13th being as large as it is. There could be a situation where you could just get a free pit stop and pit for a set of softs and go for fastest lap at the end.
Certainly could, and unfortunately Daniel at the second to last corner, coming up to the last corner, has unfortunately spun. So I can't see any wing damage on him, but I think is he coming into the pits? No, he's just coming straight back on to the racing line as Dan just sort of goes straight through him. As Merckx, yet another 3-second time penalty following him, and he's
he's gone into the pit wall.
Was he meaning to go into the pits or what?
yeah, he meant to go into the pits. he's just not turned in enough, and he's just understeered straight into the pit wall.
Oh dear, and he's retired from the session, and so has Daniel as well. Daniel having that spin once again at turn 2. I think completely shattered his wing. Mert completely shattered his wing as well. And Mert now out of the race. Is V5 also making that pit stop? Sven making that pit stop as well. I don't think we're going to see any sort of safety car because Mert did retire in the pits, but Daniel also retired on track. So it doesn't look as if we're going to get any sort of safety car from the looks of things. As E2 now, the next one. This could be. I think this might be E2's first podium he is on for.
I'll quickly fact check that one for you.
Yeah, but I mean, if that is the case, I think this might be E2's first podium. If not, it'll be his second podium. And what a drive this has been from E2 so far as well. Vallejo, I think, has just gotten very unlucky from going on a set of the hards, and I think so was Tixi. Tixi could have been well within this battle between Mr. Anker and Dan that's going to be coming up very shortly, but Dan just doing enough at the moment to make sure that his tyres stay the way that they are. And, well, at the moment, Inbounds Cupid, the one on a... well, getting himself those sets of points as V5 now back out of the pits. DRS wide open for him, closing up to the back of Sven very, very quickly as well. As I don't know what happened to V5. He's obviously lost the position to Sven when Sven came in the pits a bit later than him.
Yeah, and you are right. This would be E2's first podium if he can pull it off. The highest that he has finished in the season. I
think it's 4th. Oh, it's 5th. Okay, so yeah, we could be seeing Finn's first podium indeed. So, I mean, he's on for his best finish right now as it stands. As long as he keeps it clean on the track, I think this is definitely going to be his best finish of the season so far. But just thinking on board with V5 at the moment, it just looks like, well, V5 is just so much quicker than, of course, what Sven is going at the moment. And V5 just absolutely triaging it as, yeah, E2 now going around the outside of Tixi, and I think Tixi's just yielded that position. He will have the DRS onto this second straight. However, I think, well, they've both sort of gotten a very similar run out of it. So here we go, Tixi. Look how much more speed he has with that ERS as well compared to E2 with barely any ERS and the DRS. E2 has to yield that position. So back down into P4 goes the other Finn of E2. And now he's going to have to stay behind him for another lap, but things are starting to spice up a bit more towards the front end of the grid. Dan closing up the two that are technically closest in the championship. Dan, I don't think he is going to be stopping again. I think he is going to be trying to go on the mediums to the end of the race. A little bit of a slide from him out of the penultimate corner, and now Mr. Anker very close to the back of him. Here we go. This is really the battle that we are needing to see, because these two are also battling in the Constructors' Championship as well. So let's have a look. Dan, he's going to try and do all he can to stay up ahead of Mr. Anker, and Vallejo really needs to try and catch up to the back of Tixi and E2 as well, if they want any chance of being able to maximise the amount of points that they get for the McLaren. But Mr. Anker, he just looks like he's in another class of his own, and hence why he is our champion, I suppose, of this season. But here we go, Mr. Anker now, he's going to have that DRS. And DRS now wide open for the Finn, as Dan, I don't think he's going to be able to put much of a fight. He has still got a little bit of VRS in his tank, but Dan trying to go a bit defensive in towards the inside. Mr. Anker now trying to go down the very inside of this, as well as Dan now keeping around the outside, and we've got a bit of a battle change going as well for third and fourth. E2 going around the outside of Tixi as well. And now Mr. Anker, once again, he's going to have that DRS on Dan. Dan did manage to hold it, but with that DRS now to the Finn, he's gotten back past him. And now we go back to this battle here for P3. Tixi, he's going to have that DRS. E2, barely any ERS to his name. Once again, Tixi, he is gaining on the back of him. Are we going to see him maybe try and go for a bit of a dive up towards the inside? Yes, he goes for it. In towards the S's as well. And E2 does manage to hold it around the outside. So E2 now on for his first podium of the season. And are we going to be seeing him from what was an absolute terror in that lobby glitch first race to now a potential podium?
It really is a fantastic thing to see at the moment. E2 is doing such a brilliant job, and he's battling well, and he is he is earning this right now on track, and if he does it, fair play.
Yeah, certainly is as well. And another battle that's just also commencing. It's a bit of a battle with the sister teams of the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri. Exy trying to go around the outside of Sven in towards the S's. Sven did just get past Exy on the long DRS, or the first long DRS straight, and then Exy trying to come back at him, but just had to yield that position, so has to stay behind him for now. We of course got 6 laps left to go of the session, and Dan really needs to try and keep within those 3 seconds of Mr. Anchor if he wants any chance of being able to win this race. I forgot that Mr. Anchor had that 3-second time penalty. I mean, if he picks up another one, then Dan really, all he's got to do is just sort of just drive his race as V5. I think he's picked up now, that was another 3-second time penalty, so I think he might have 12 seconds to his name. He's got 15 seconds, in fact, to his name. So, inbound to Cupid, unfortunately, is not sort of close enough to being able to get any sort of move done through penalties, so I think 12th is going to be the best that the Brit in the Haas is going to be able to do, unless, of course, a safety car does come out right about now. But Dan, yeah, he is definitely struggling on these mediums. You can see it. He is, yeah. Well, just looking at it, Teeksey's not being able, is still keeping up to the back of V2. So I think these guys on the mediums now really are starting to struggle, and it's looking like the 2-stop is 100% the best strategy throughout all of this. Possibly a soft medium, soft, or soft medium, medium. From the looks of things, there's Bree closing up to the back of Gilzo as well on those fresh set of softs.
Yeah, it looks like the 2-stop is definitely the strategy of choice. Bree and Gilzo, as you say, starting to converge on each other as well. And at the moment, E2, he's just right there. He's on the teetering edge of breaking DRS for Tixie. So, I mean, if he can just get a good run through here, he might be able to break it. But nah, it looks like, actually, it's just dipped over a second. Does the Renault have DRS? No, he doesn't. Oh,
so E2's managed to get that gap to Tixie. So I think Tixie may end up having a DRS on the second straight, however, because I can see that E2's DRS is, well, is dying, shall I say. But let's have a look and see, has he gotten a DRS? I don't know, it looked like he got much better traction. No, he did not. So E2 has done enough to be able to get that gap to Tixie and make sure that he does not close up to the back of him anymore. And now E2's going to try his hardest to try and push away, but these mediums, like I said, they are starting to die out. I think Exy could only take them really sort of 13 to 14 laps, and he did start on them. Of course, with them these mediums going to the end of the race, I don't know, Mike. It's going to be very tight.
Come the final few laps, the clutch at straws if you're in the stream supporting E2 and his Redeemer, because their tyres are going to be on the teetering edge.
Yeah, they certainly will. And I also just want to give a quick little shout out. Moritz at the moment sitting in P6, 15 seconds up ahead of Gilzo. Could probably afford to just make a pit stop relatively soon. And he should be perfectly fine coming... well, he needs to make a pit stop ASAP, actually, because he's losing time. Quite a bit of time to Gilzo and Bree up behind him. As both Gilzo and Bree, 14 seconds now. It was literally about 15.2 seconds about 5 corners ago. So Moritz really needs to... I personally think that the German's going to need a pit now if he wants any chance of still being able to get within that top 6.
Yeah, any longer, I think he's running the risk of puncher territory.
Yeah, also losing out as well to those guys if he did end up getting that puncture in the end. But again, we'll wait and see. Again, it's just that fuel. It's just going to be a lot easier to go to the end on a lot longer tyres than obviously what it would be on the beginning of the race. Being able to sort of hold it in that respect as well. Just taking a look in the chat as well. Mark just asking, is E2 Educk? E2 is not Educk. It is a completely different driver, unless Educk has not told me, and it is Educk. But yeah, no, it's completely different driver. New Waluigi also confirming it would be his best result so far as well. So E2 now already 2 seconds up ahead of Tixie. So where I thought that these mediums were dying, I was completely wrong on that one, because it just looks as if E2 is a lot more comfortable than what Tixie is at the moment.
Yeah, I think that just goes to the hard tyre. It's just it doesn't appear to be the best race tyre, I don't think.
No, it doesn't look as if it is, to be honest with you. I don't know why the hards are even here, to be honest, because I just don't see the point.
It's good for us, you know. We can watch it and pick our strategies for tomorrow. But
You have a very good point.
exactly. But right now, E2 doing a fantastic job up in third. I still think that towards the final 2 laps, that's when we'll start to see the hards start to close back in.
Yeah, for sure we will be seeing that as well. And I mean, at the moment, it's just looking like it could be sort of. I know Mr. Anker is more than likely taking this win unless he has some sort of incident towards the final laps of the race. We have, of course, only got 4 laps left to go of the race, almost 3 now. As just watching Mr. Anker on the minimap just coming through the hotel section of the track. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be Mr. Anker to take the win with Zarma in second, and E2 looking like he is going to be taking his first podium of the season. But it's just a little bit further down in the grid. Gilzo now only 10.5 seconds behind Moritz, and about 2 laps ago it was 15. So about 2.5 seconds, maybe 3 seconds a lap, the Irishman is taken out of the German. And you've really got to think, could Moritz be under pressure come towards the end of the race?
He's just been unlapped by Inbounds Cupid, who is on a very fresh set of soft tyres. And the more I think about it, I think Moritz is going to try and go to the end, and that will be some job to get those softs all the way to the end.
14 laps they would need to take those softs, which is going to be absolutely insane if he manages to pull this off. The only one that I can think of that did something very, very similar to this, and you may remember it as well, Mike, Season 2, Division 3, Mr. Adri Lockdock, soft to medium, somehow managed to take it to P3 or P2. It was one of those 2 that he finished. I don't think he won. I think it was first. He was second, I think.
I think Nico was the one who took the win that day.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Nico was the one that actually ended up taking the win in the end. So, yeah, we are seeing a very, very similar strategy for this one. And is Moritz going to be able to pull this one off? 8.5 seconds now splits him and Gilzo. And Gilzo and Bree both on an absolute charge up to the German. I don't know. It's going to be close at the end. It's going to be close at the end between them, I reckon.
Yeah, I think penalty is going to play a key role as well in this as well. Because if Gilzo pushes and gets a 3-second time penalty, they all even Stevens, and that I think would probably hurt Gilzo's chance of getting past Ortiz. But right now, 7.4 seconds the gap, so around 4.4 seconds he needs to bring in this. Tixie's retired.
Oh!
He's gone into the pits and retired.
Why has he done that then?
I have no idea. He's into the pits and retired, and that has severely helped McLaren in the constructors, because now Vettel up into P4. They'll gain 30 points out of this race instead of just the what was it?
Well, they would have been on 28.
Yeah, so an extra 2 points. I'll seriously help them out, because Mr. Anger, we would assume, would have all 26 points.
Very strange. Oh, Mr. Anker, another 3-second time penalty. But he's in fact actually got 9 seconds. So Dan, he's actually in the net race lead at the moment. 2 tenths is separating them, and I think Mr. Anker's about to get the gap already, because it looks like Dan's tyres, as well as he's doing on them at the moment, Dan is actually on for this win for tonight. It's so close between them, and these guys are about to go on the final lap. Dan, he needs to push this to the max if he wants to beat Mr. Anker for tonight. It's literally teetering at the 9-second gap. It's so, oh my, we're gonna see us finish. It's gonna be a very close finish.
Is Zadima there just getting on the curve, losing a bit of traction, so he's lost 2 tenths there. But yeah, it is on the teetering edge. An extra penalty for Mr. Anker, and is Zadima we'll be seeing on the top step of the podium. But As it stands right now, it is incredibly close. One slip up from Mr. Anka, and that could be Zradema on the top step.
It certainly could. Literally 4 tenths is separating them now, technically. But Mr. Anchor, he's driven an absolute flawless race. He wants this Grand Slam. 3 tenths is separating it. Dan really needs to get a push if he wants any chance of being able to win. 4 tenths is now separating them. Dan just having a massive lock-up going in towards the second chicane. Now, here we go. Mr. Anchor through the S's for the final time tonight. And he's driven an absolute stellar race. He's led it pretty much from every lap, obviously, other than when he did make that pit stop. But nonetheless, still done an absolutely impressive job, especially with the two-stop as well. Just being able to make that work. 9.8 seconds. I don't think Dan's going to be able to make up 8 tenths within this final lap, unless Mr. Anchor picks himself up another time penalty, which it doesn't look like he's going to do. The Finn will come round the final corner to take the win, and straight into the wall he goes. 10.1 seconds. Dan, it was a valiant effort from him, but 10 seconds in the end separated him and Mr. Anchor. Congratulations to Mr. Anchor for taking the win tonight. Again, valiant effort from Dan to get into second, and E2 coming around the final corner and picking himself up his first podium of the season, his best finish of the season as well. Vallejo coming home to finish in P4, and this is where it's going to get close. Gilzo, I don't think he's gotten himself a second time penalty, so Gilzo, I think this is his best result of the season as well. I think Gilzo's about to pick himself up P5 from the back of the grid as Bree picks himself up another time penalty as well. Gilzo comes home and finishes in 5th, and Moritz, for his race back, does end up finishing in P6. 15 laps on those soft tyres.
Incredible. How he's managed to get those tyres 15 laps, I'll never know, but Maurice getting P6 in the end, and we've got Sven crossing the line now, and I believe everyone else will be as they are, potentially XC and V5, though I think V5's got a lot of time penalties to his name.
Yeah, so I think that wasn't going to change the order at all, but wow, what an absolute dramatic end to this race. Yeah. Gilzo, driver of the day, I feel like that's well deserved for him, to be fair. Him or E2, I think is probably easily my driver of the day. But Mr. Anchor, again, drove it absolutely flawlessly. Again, I would say not put a foot wrong, but he did have those 9 seconds of penalties, which made that a lot more interesting towards the end. And in the end, just got that gap to Dan. Very unfortunate for Dan. I think if he was on a bit of fresher tyres, he may have been able to try and keep up. But yeah, very unfortunate for him indeed. And so Mr. Anchor taking the win for tonight. Dan coming home to finish in second once again. And E2 finishing on that final step of the podium. But here are your final classifications for the penultimate round for the League of Europe PCT. Mr. Anchor, as I said, taking the top step, the fastest lap, and the pole position. So we did get the Grand Slam in the end. Dan coming home and finishing P2, with V2 in third, Vallejo in fourth, Gilzo from 16th on the grid all the way up into P5. Absolutely impressive from the Irishman, if I do say so myself. Moritz finishing in P6 with Bree in 7th, Sven in 8th, XE in 9th, V5 in 10th, Inbounds Cupid in 11th. Managing to pick himself up yet another 2 points indeed. Graham's Ghost finishing in 12th. Unfortunately, he won't be earning any of those points at all. Tixi in 13th. Unfortunately, DNFing from the session. I don't know what happened to him. He was in 4th at one point and just all of a sudden retired. So
He just dove into the pits and retired.
I'm not too sure exactly what happened with him there, but yeah. And then you've got Merckx, Daniel, Dylan, and Frey all retiring from the session in the end. Dylan having 29 seconds of penalties from his time of just racing, which is very odd, but wow, what an absolute dramatic end to that race, if I do say so myself, Mike.
Yeah, and I think with that performance from Dan, I think going into the final round, what does Jake need to do to get second now?
So he was, what, 18 points up ahead? Sorry, 12 points up ahead, wasn't he, of Jake?
I think it might be over.
I think second's done. Yeah, I think Dan has now actually managed to solidify second, 'cause he's 30 points up ahead of Jake. So Dan taking second in the end. Really, now it is all coming down to this constructors title. So,
Yeah.
let's see who comes out on top of it. Final round next week for Brazil. Make sure you guys are tuning in, because trust me, it's going to be a spicy one. And make sure you guys are also tuning in to Division 1, Division 3 and Division 4 for the PlayStation 4 tiers for tomorrow at 6:40 PM UK time and 8 PM UK time for Division 2 and Division 5. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on any of those. But Mike, have you got any final words for tonight's stream?
Absolutely fantastic race. Battles up and down the field. It was brilliant to watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching the PC guys during the season.
Certainly has been a very, very fun season, and of course I will get into that, of course, for the final round as well next week. Hopefully Panther will be here next week to take us through the final round. But thank you to everyone that has tuned in for tonight and throughout the season, and we will catch you guys for the final round for next week at the Brazilian Grand Prix.